Okay, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. As more people join, I might post a link again in the chat for you guys to make a copy of and keep this for your own records. First, let me introduce myself in case this is your first time joining our PD sessions with Computerwisekids. My name is Josue Sanchez. I'm the program manager for Computerwisekids, and today I'll be going over Edpuzzle and Jamboard and how you might be able to integrate this into your long distance learning plans. I see some more people have joined, so let me go ahead and just quickly post this link in the chat one more time. And then if you do want to go ahead and make a copy of this, you can head over here to Files after clicking on that link, and then go down to where it says Make a Copy. And you want to select Make a Copy of the entire presentation. What this will do is it will make a copy of this in your Google Drive so you can access this at a later time. And feel free to share this amongst your colleagues or anybody else who is interested in learning about either Edpuzzle or Google Jamboard. The other option you might have is to download this file. You can choose to download it as a PowerPoint or as a PDF. Just keep in mind that if you do decide to do this, there may be some formatting issues. So please be aware of that. I recommend that if you do have a Google account, which I believe most of you do, just go ahead and make a copy of this presentation. Now, just to give you a quick overview of what we'll be covering today, as far as Google Jamboard is concerned, I'll be showing you how to access the Jamboard, how to create what they call a new jam, the interface, the tools, and also talk about the share settings, and as well as show you some sample lessons that you may want to use during your long distance learning. Okay, I do hear the bell, which means we have a few more people joining in, so I'm just going to quickly paste this link one more time. Now, typically, I don't really go off of this presentation. This is more of a resource for you guys to have, so you can refer to it back at a later time. I typically just demonstrate how to do each of these steps, and or I'll explain the tools as I'm on the actual interface, the actual program. So first, let me talk about Jamboard a little bit before we dive into the software. Jamboard is a virtual whiteboard, if you will. It was created by Google a few years ago when they actually launched their own version of a smartboard. But they needed an app to work with it so you can save all of this information. And this is where Google Jamboard came in. Google Jamboard allows you to use this virtual whiteboard where you can insert images, you can add stickies. Think of it of a brainstorming session where you have multiple people who can have their own input, move things around, and you can have many of these virtual whiteboards in the same file. So I've seen this being used by teachers who want to record themselves explaining something in perhaps mathematics or a different subject. They want to pre-record a lesson. They might pull up a Google Jamboard or a Jam, record themselves with something like Screencastify or even Zoom, and then upload that video into their Google Classroom or other learning management system that they may have. The other option that you can use Jamboard is once you're done explaining that presentation and recording it, you can also share it with your class through Google Classroom. That way everybody gets a copy of it, and it's kind of like pre-made notes for them that they can go back and scan. I went ahead and posted this link to the presentation one more time. We do have a few people who just joined. Again, welcome everybody. Right now we're going over Google Jamboard, and in a bit we'll cover Edpuzzle. So the first thing I want to show you is actually how to access Google Jamboard. I'm going to open up a new tab here, and there's a couple ways to do so. You can access it by typing in the website jamboard.google.com. But you can also do this if you are signed into your Google account from the Google Apps button, which is what I'm going to demonstrate right now. So the Google Apps button is going to be on the top right corner of your screen. It's three little dots or circle. I'm sorry, 9 little dots or circles in a square. We're going to hover over that and click on it. And then I'll go ahead and scroll down a bit until you see the Jamboard icon. So I'm going to click on this and it will take me to the Jamboard landing page. Now, right now it says I don't have any jams, which that's okay. We're going to make one. But if we did have a previous jam session, they would all show up here. Now, Google Jams are saved in your Google Drive. So as soon as you create one, you'll also see it populate in your Google Drive. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Now, it says tap the plus sign to create a jam. So we're going to press on the plus sign here on the bottom right corner.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you need to be sharing your screen because we can only see you?
I'm sorry. I thought I was sharing the screen here. Can you guys all see the screen?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Was anybody not able to see my screen before? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
I saw it from the beginning.
Okay, thank you. If you didn't, it might have been because you came in maybe a little late, but and it took a second for Zoom to kind of figure that out, but that's okay. As long as we can all see it now, we'll go ahead and proceed. So now, actually, I did create that jam. So let me go back into my Jamboard screen here. And, oh, I guess it didn't save. So let's try that one more time. We'll create a new jam. And this is what it looks like. It's just a plain white piece of canvas. There are many tools here on the side, which we'll go over in a second. But the first thing you should know is to rename your jam, just like you would with any other Google document. You can click on that and give this a name. So I'm just going to call this my sample jam and press OK. Now, let me take you through the interface here. We'll start here on the side since this is where most of the tools are. The first tool is the pen tool. And if we click on that, you can see we actually have a few options. This is a regular pen stylus. We have marker. This is, I believe, highlighter, and then a brush. And you have some basic colors to go with it. If you do want to perhaps write something on the screen, you can use the pen tool. You can choose your color, and you can start writing. Now, writing with a mouse is not exactly the easiest thing to do. But if you do have a tablet or a touchscreen computer, this will work with that as well. If you have an iPad, there is a Jamboard app that you can install and download. And then you can use either a stylus for your iPad or your finger and draw on this canvas, which would be significantly easier. Now, underneath the pen tool, we do have the eraser, which I can use this to, just erase anything I've scribbled down with the pen tool. Beneath that, we have the select tool, which we'll use in a second once we get to stickies and images. So this will actually allow us to maneuver and move things around in the Jamboard. When I click on sticky, you'll see that I'll get a pop-up. And I'm just going to type up hello as a sample here. And up at the top, I can choose the color sticky that I want. You could either use this to assign a color to a specific student or assign a color to a specific area of what your lesson is going to be on. So I'm going to go ahead and just press save here. It doesn't close it out right away, but if I press cancel, you'll see that there's a sticky note that I can now click and drag around. Now you can add obviously more than just one word here, and you can click and drag to expand this sticky note. The other option you have here on the top left corner, you can click and drag that to rotate it as needed. And then finally, on the top right corner here on the 3 dots, we can edit our sticky note, we can duplicate it, or we can delete the sticky note. Underneath the sticky option, we have the add image option, which you can select an image from your computer and upload it to the Jamboard. You can also add an image from a Google search, add something from your Google Drive, and then go into your recent files in Google Drive as well. So let me go ahead and go into my drive. Let me see if I can pull up a quick picture. that I can share with you. Let's see, photos. So this is just an image of a background that I have. And you see, you double click on that, select it. And again, just like the sticky note, you can click and drag and resize. And with the pen, I can draw on top of it. And this will come in handy a little bit later once we get into some example lessons that you might be able to do with your class. Now, we do have some other tools here up at the top. Of course, we have the undo and we have the redo option. And then we do have a zoom tool that will let us zoom in and out of this Jamboard. We also have the option to add a background. So it's an image, I guess, that won't be able to be manipulated. It's just there in the background. You can't click and drag it, which may be useful for some lessons. And again, I'll go over some sample lessons in a second. If you want to quickly just clear the entire Jamboard, you do have the clear frame tool, which I'm going to demonstrate. You just click on that one time, and everything, whether it was written with a pen, a sticky note, or an image, has actually gone away. It's been deleted. The last tool I didn't talk about here on the bottom left corner is the laser. And the laser tool can be used to highlight certain areas. You see, it slowly kind of fades away and gets the students' attention. So if you want to focus on a word or something here on the Jamboard, you can use the laser tool by clicking and dragging and highlighting that area. Now, sometimes it may be convenient to have multiple whiteboards in one file, in one jam session. For instance, if you're teaching a math course, if you're a middle school or high school math teacher, or even a regular elementary school teacher who is teaching a math lesson, what you would want to do is, or what you can do is have multiple problems here in a Jamboard. And so you could have one problem here where the students can model, for instance, if they're doing multiplication, we can do 3 times 3. And maybe you want them to focus on showing you different strategies on how to solve this problem. So they can take up this whole Jamboard to show you different strategies. We can press now up here on this caret pointing to the right, and this will add another whiteboard. So I can switch back and forth between my whiteboards by clicking on these carets here on the side. So then here I can perhaps add a different problem, 4 times 2, and then they can have some additional practice. Something else you can do with this is you can create one Jamboard whiteboard for each of your students and have them each work on their own section of this file. So they're still working on the same type of activity on the same file. It's just each of them are in their own whiteboard. Now, in order for you to do that, there's a couple things that have to be set here, and that's some things you should be aware of. First of all, when you create a Jamboard, it's defaulted so that only you can edit the Jamboard. You may be able to share it with your students, but they wouldn't be able to write on it along with you. So in order to change that setting, there's a couple of things you can do. If you do have a Google Classroom, you can add this as an assignment and select give students edit rights, or students can edit this file. And that will allow the students to be able to write on here, add their sticky notes, add images through assigning it from Google Classroom. The other way you can do this is by going to the share button up on the top right corner and then changing the settings so that anybody with the link can, and not just view, this is important. So anybody with the link has to be editor. Okay, and that means that they can edit the file now if they have the link to this file. This link can be shared through your Zoom or through even Google Classroom or any other learning management system that you have. If this is not set to editor and only set to view, they will not be able to edit any of the elements in the Google Jamboard. Now, because they have to be set to editor, they will have control over the entire Jamboard. That means they have access to every whiteboard that is a part of it, and they can erase and manipulate items that they did not themselves create. So that is something very important to keep in mind, as you know, if they're accidentally in a different Jamboard than they were assigned, or maybe they clicked and dragged something and it disappeared. So you have to be careful with this setting. You can control it. So if things are perhaps not working out and you want to change the setting, you can go into share and then modify your permissions here to viewer, and that will prevent them from being able to edit what's going on in the Jamboard. Can you add images in the sticky notes? Not at the moment. Right now, there's only text available for sticky notes. But maybe that is a suggestion we can bring up. If you're not aware, Google does take suggestions from teachers for their applications. You can either send them a message, or if you're on Twitter, they also accept tweets with recommendations that way. They can actually redirect you to where you can submit that. Okay. How can you use it during a synchronous session? Well, it depends on kind of what you are teaching. If you are on Zoom and you want to, for instance, introduce them to double-digit addition or multiplication, or even if you're teaching algebra, you can have your background here be whatever it is you need. So this can change into a graph paper very easily. So if I go to background, I can select graph paper, and now I can demonstrate graphing an equation on here. Or you do have also line paper, or some dotted line or dots in the background here. So there's a few options. So what you would use it during synchronous activities, the way I would recommend it is either doing a sample writing assignment, or a sample sentence where you're identifying nouns, or identifying verbs, or perhaps you're doing a math lesson and you're using it kind of to demonstrate the steps on how to perform this task. If you do want them to do something live, which let me go ahead and switch back over here to the presentation. I do have some sample lessons here. So here we have a question. So you as a teacher would write up a question, and then students can use the sticky notes to type in the responses, and everybody can kind of brainstorm or share. This is another example here where we have a background image of the states, and they would use sticky notes to identify different states on the map. Here's the example of the graphing, the equation that I talked about earlier, and the problem was actually written out in a sticky note, and the students worked out the word problem on the graph paper here. And then finally, we have a Venn diagram. So this could be an image that you insert into the Jamboard, and then you can type up your two categories and then have students populate the Venn diagram with sticky notes. What's the difference between editing the whiteboard or editing Google Slide? It's just what's available to you as far as the tools are concerned. They have permissions to delete and erase. If they are editor on both of those, whether it's a Google Slide or Jamboard, they will be able to manipulate it. It's just the different tools that are available to them, whether you're using Google Slide or you're using Jamboard. No, unfortunately, we can't set it so that they can only edit their own sticky note. If they have edit rights on the Jamboard, they would be able to edit the entire thing, including what others have written down. The easiest way to get to a Jamboard session from, for instance, a Zoom session would be to share the link. So if we click on the share button up at the top here, and I'm gonna go ahead and what you'll have to do is make it so that anybody with the link is an editor. So again, anyone with the link, and then you have to select this to be editor. Once this is done, you can copy this link and then paste this into the Zoom session, and they can click on that. Now, once you're done, if you, for instance, have recorded yourself explaining a math concept or something of that nature, you can add this into a classroom. So if I go into my Google Classroom, and let's say I have an assignment that the kids want to or need to complete after viewing the video lesson that I provided for them. You can go into your Google Classrooms. Let me go ahead and switch over to my other account. You can go into your Google Classroom and with your assignment under classwork, and I know I'm going a little bit quickly, but I believe most of you have seen Google Classroom before. You can go ahead and add this file from your Google Drive. And so, oh, here's a sample Jamboard that I have. I'm going to go ahead and press the insert. And so now not only can I attach the video lesson, but I could also give them view rights, or even, I wouldn't give them edit rights, but I can give them view rights to the, to the Google Jamboard. So they can refer to it if they need to. If the students don't have a chat enabled in their Zoom, then it would have to be posted through either your learning management system. I believe if you're using Schoology, you could post it as a link on Schoology, or if you're using Google Classroom, you can post it as a link and as an announcement in Google Classroom. Yeah. Okay. Let me just make sure I didn't skip over everything. We did talk about share settings and the different tools. It's really up to kind of your imagination as to how you can utilize this. There are many possibilities, such as having a discussion board, having a check-in board where every day they can maybe type up a message about how they're feeling today, or they drag a sticky as to how they're feeling to one of the emoji backgrounds. If you have one, for instance, you can do that as well. So it's really up to kind of your imagination. It's a very interesting tool to use. The one thing that I would caution you is when the students are set to be editors on the Google Jamboard, it could cause some issues with them deleting each other's comments or what they did on the Jamboard there. So that's my only caution for you guys for that. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on to Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is, if you're not aware, I believe it was purchased by the district for you guys to use along with Schoology. And recently we did get access to a Schoology account, so I'll be showing you how you can actually post this up on Schoology as well. Do students have to go to their own through Google app? No, as long as they're provided with the link, they can click on the link and they'll be able to edit. As long as you set the Jamboard so that anybody with the link can edit, that's all they'll need. They don't need an app. Can you post jams in Seesaw? Seesaw, I'm not too familiar with, but as long as you can post a link or an image, these can be downloaded as well, then you should be able to post that on Seesaw. Okay. Now let's go ahead and move over to Edpuzzle. And we have a lot of content to cover today, so I apologize if I'm going a little bit fast. Edpuzzle is an application that lets you integrate questions into video lessons. Now, these could be your own video lessons, or they can be lessons that were created and posted on YouTube as well. As long as you have the file, whether it's on your own computer or whether it's on the internet, you should be able to connect it to Edpuzzle and then integrate questions in between the video to kind of check for understanding, check for the students' understanding. Before you get started, you will have to create an account on Edpuzzle, even if you're using it through the district, through Schoology. If you add the app on Schoology, it will say, oh, go to the website and create an account. So please keep that in mind, that you will have to create an account on the website, even if you use it through Schoology. So I have some steps written out here for how to create an account. I won't really be going over that as it should be pretty straightforward. You go to the website, press sign up, and then log in with your LAUSD account. So I'm actually already logged into my account here. And you can see that there's a lot of things going on here on the side and a lot of options. So let's cover them. Starting with the top, the home. This is the landing page, if you will. Whenever you sign into Edpuzzle, you'll be taken to this screen. Now, based on what you selected, as far as the subjects that you teach, whether it's general or whether it's a specific subject, Schoology will recommend some videos for you. I've selected myself as being a technology instructor, so that it will present me here with videos on technology, in this case, computers. If you go down here, going to curriculum, Edpuzzle has gone ahead and organized their content so that it's easy to search through, whether you're on elementary school curriculum, middle school, or high school. I'm going to click on elementary school for demonstration purposes here. And you'll be able to see that you can search videos by subject, by grade, and it will also have some suggestions at the bottom. Let's go ahead and view videos by subject. And for instance, if I want to pull up a video on, we'll do science, and maybe we'll do STEM. Simple machines. You can see it's organized into quite a few folders here. But here we have a couple of videos on simple machines, pulleys, ramps, and levers. And so you can click on these videos and preview them before deciding that you want to assign this to a student or not. Let me go back a little bit and demonstrate now viewing by grade level. So if we select videos by grade level, we'll go into second grade math. And here we have a few videos that would reinforce the math skills taught in second grade. Now, this may not be perfect, but it is a good way to avoid seeing some of the other videos that might not be appropriate for that, for your grade level. And so it's a good place to start by going into the Edpuzzle's curriculum. Do students need an Edpuzzle account? Well, that's a little bit tricky to answer. And I was going to cover that when we got to classes, but since it's been asked, I'll go ahead and answer that. If you are using this through Schoology, your students will populate automatically as soon as you link your Edpuzzle account with your Schoology account. And so you'll be able to assign them videos to watch or Edpuzzle assignments through Schoology. And I don't believe they'll need to sign up for anything because it's all managed through Schoology. If you are not using this through Schoology, then you will have to create a classroom, and you will have to either use a Google Classroom login, because this is integrated with Google Classroom as well, or you would have to create accounts for your students. So it all depends on whether or not you are using this through Schoology, Google Classroom, or just independently on its own. And assigning a video, I'll go ahead and demonstrate that in a little bit as we proceed through the rest of this content here. Can you only use videos in their catalog? No, no. So I will actually show you how to search for different videos on here as well in a second. If you are doing a live session, you can just share your screen. But in order for the kids to answer the questions that are being asked in the video, then you will have to assign it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to track how they're doing. At least not through Edpuzzle. Now, when you do create your Edpuzzle account, you are asked to select the school that you're with. So this for me says right now LA Unified, as I use the single sign-on they provided me with. But this would be your school. And one of the things that Edpuzzle does is when it groups together teachers from the same school. And if you click on that, you can see the content that other teachers have assigned if it is set to public. And you can use that as a starting point for your assigned video. And so you'll be able to share resources that way just by linking to your school. Now, the last thing here is my content. This is where all of your current assignments and videos that you've worked on are stored. And we'll be adding to this shortly. With your Schoology licensed account, I believe it does give you, the only difference between that and a paid account is that it gives you more storage space. So you can save more content, more videos on your account. Okay, so now we'll talk about adding content that you can use to assign the videos. So down here at the bottom, not only can we search through their curriculum, but we could also search through different YouTube channels. Some of the most popular channels are listed here for us. Edpuzzle has their own channel, which is the first one there. Then the next one we have is YouTube. And this is where I believe somebody asked, does it have to be only from their catalog? Well, no, if you do find a YouTube video, you can paste in the URL here and it will find it for you. So if it's anywhere on YouTube, if that's what you want to use, then you can click on YouTube, paste in the link for that URL, and it will find it here. You also have access to the Khan Academy library, National Geographic, and a few others as well. Now, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to find one here. Let's see if there's one on Edpuzzle that we can use quickly. We'll do this on civil engineering. So let's say this is the video that I want to use. It's already created for me. It's not a new one for me to that I've created. I'm just going to click on that. And what you'll see is not only will you be able to preview the video, but you'll also, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see there are many different versions of this. That is because teachers have created, in this case, 153 different lessons with different questions already pre-made for this video. Now you can click on either one of these options and then preview what their questions were and choose whether or not you like it and copy it and assign that to your students. If you're curious about these dots here at the bottom, this is where all of the questions are. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on one. And you'll see that I get to preview on the right side the multiple choice question here. Who was considered the father of city planning? And so this is what I mean by integrating questions is the video will stop and pause so that the students can answer these questions to kind of check for understanding. You do have a few options that I'll get into shortly, but I just wanted to make sure that you saw this. If I create a video of myself teaching with Edpuzzle, does my video automatically save to my videos? Okay, good question. So if you do, so not only can we pick videos that are kind of presented to us by Edpuzzle through their channels, but you can also add your own content. And if you add your own content, it will display under the My Content tab. So if you do upload a video of yourself teaching, it will show up here under My Content. And since you will be linked up to a school, it will also show up under the school, the content that the school has created. Will it be public? Okay, so that would depend on your settings. So let me go ahead and actually demonstrate first making a video from a pre-built video, and then I'll go ahead and show you how we can upload one. So let's say, for instance, that, again, I think I lost my video. Apologize about that. Let's say that I have this video. We'll just do the Sesame Street video. Okay. Now we've previewed it. We like it, but we don't like any of these versions that other people have created. So I want to make my own video. Okay, so on the right side, we have a few options. We have assign, copy, and edit. Assign, if we click on this, what it will do is it will assign the video for the students to watch, but there won't be any questions on there. So not very helpful when we're trying to check for understanding. The other option is to make a copy of this so that you can go back and edit it, or you can just edit from here directly, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to click on edit. And one of the best things about Ed Video is that you can actually cut up the video if there are sections that you don't want your kids to see, whether it's a long introduction, whether it's an outro that asks the user to subscribe to the channel, or maybe there's content in between the video that's not part of your lesson or not suitable for them. Well, we can use the cut tool or the trim tool to modify this video a little bit. So on the sides here of this blue bar, these are my starting and ending points in the video. If I click and drag, I can make this shorter or longer. So I'm gonna pause that up there. Let me just make sure I'm not sharing my sound with you guys. That would be a little bit annoying. Okay. There we go. So you can trim the end, you can trim from the start and cut it up so that it begins and ends where you want it to begin and end. Well, additionally, we can also cut in between. This is the progress bar, if you will, or progress tracker of the video. If I want to cut in the middle here, I can place this tracker and use the add cut tool. And this will split it now into two separate sections. And now I can trim this part or trim that part. And so when the students see it, it will jump from the end of this section to the beginning of this section. Okay. And we avoid anything that we don't want our kids to see there. Let me just make sure I have my chat open. Okay. So you can continue to add cuts in between these sections, as many as you need to. If you decide, oh, I didn't want to do that, actually, you can go ahead and press the undo, or you can reset the entire video. Okay. Now, let's say we performed all the cuts we wanted to. We have a couple more options here at the top. We have the voiceover option. What this will do is it will allow us to record some audio for the students to hear instead of what is being presented to them on the video. So the video will still play. It's just that instead of hearing the audio from the video, they'll hear the audio from your recording. So you can do this whether it's at the start, whether you don't like the way that the video explained a particular topic or part of it, then you can choose to record your own explanation instead of what the video had originally. Now to do that, all you would have to do is press the start recording button. It will automatically record. It might ask you for permissions at first, and you can see, hopefully you see this up at the top, this little red circle, that means that it is recording. And then when you're done, you can press the stop recording. It will take a second to kind of save, and then you can preview it by clicking on this play button. If you decide you didn't like this recording, you want to redo it or just not have it, you can press on the trash can here on the side and it will remove it. Now, the last option here is the questions. So if we go to the questions tab, you see we have three choices. We have multiple choice question, open-ended question, or note. So the most common is the multiple choice question. If you reach the point of the video where they just finished explaining a topic or a subject and you want to check for understanding, you can click on multiple choice question. And here you're able to type up your question. And I'm just going to type up sample question. And then you have two answer choices by default. So this would be the correct choice, and this is the wrong choice. And we can tell that it's correct or wrong based on what is selected here on the side. So the check mark means it's the correct answer. The X means it's wrong. If you want to provide them with more answer choices, down at the bottom, I know it's a little bit small, but it says add another answer choice, and you can click on that and it will add a third, or you can add a fourth as well. So I'm just going to call this also wrong. Can I use text instead of videos and add questions of my own? I'm not really sure whether you're referring to the video on Edpuzzle. If it's your own video, you can also insert questions in between your video. No, that is not available to them to go back and review if they got it wrong. That's not an option that is currently available on Edpuzzle. Let me go ahead and save this question so you can see that afterwards I have this little dot at the bottom, which is the little marker that shows that I've inserted in here a question. Yes, for younger elementary, if you are using this with younger elementary, I would not have them do this during a live session. I don't think that's feasible. I'm thinking more of when it's asynchronous time and you want them to review a concept, then I would picture you guys assigning something like this. But during live instruction, this would be difficult. It may work better if you were in a actual classroom where you're with your students and you can kind of walk around, because you can play the video on the wall, projected up on the wall, and then have the students answer from their device. But to do it with Zoom at the same time, yes, that would be significantly harder. Yeah. Edpuzzle, yes, is only for videos, not text. Yes. Again, if they are logging in through Schoology, if you're assigning this through Schoology or through Google Classroom, you can just post the link up there or make a material, an assignment, an Edpuzzle assignment on there. And that's all they'll need is that it'll provide them with the link to the video and it will automatically pop up with the question. If they are, if you're not using Schoology or Google Classroom, then they would have to create an account with Edpuzzle and they would have to log in. Can you add Edpuzzle on Google Slides? I believe this is the question. No, but there is something called Pear Deck you might want to look into, and that will allow you to ask questions in between Google Slides. If you're not using any of the platforms, then you would have to create an account for your students. Now, there is another option that I'll show in a little bit. I just want to go ahead and finish up making these questions to show you the different choices here. So I'm going to go ahead and press continue. Let me pause that video. And again, this little marker indicates that there is a question or a note in this section of the video. So I can add in also, again, an open-ended question. And this would allow the students to have a typed up response as opposed to a multiple choice question. You can also embed an image if you'd like, and you can link it to a different website. I don't really see that being utilized much as the information would be presented in this video, but if you do choose to or would like to, you do have these options here. Now, lastly, you have note. And note, you can be either a typed up note that you want to mention maybe before this, before the start of the video. It could be some directions that you have for the students, maybe a reminder of what they'll need to do. And then you also have the option to add an audio note. Now, an audio note is different than a voiceover As in a voiceover, it will only, the video will still play, but your voice would be the audio coming from the video as opposed to the audio from the original video. And in a note, the video would actually pause so that your audio note can play. So that's the differences. An audio note would pause the video, a voiceover would not pause the video. And again, you can insert an image or a link, and you do have a few formatting options here as well. Okay. Now, I know I only typed up one question here, but let's assume that this is done. My lesson is completed. I'm going to go ahead and press the finish button up on the top right. And now my version is saved, and I want to assign this. Now, I know somebody's asking about closed captions, and I'm going to answer that right now after I press the assign button here. So if I like this video, there's a couple of options before pressing assign. You might have noticed this has shown up here at the bottom. This is the visibility of this lesson. Right now it's set to public. If I don't want it to be public, I can click on that and make it a private lesson. Okay, and that way it is not shared publicly with other people in Edpuzzle. Okay, so that's how you would prevent that. Now, if we go ahead and press the assign to class, this is where we have a few more options as far as control. Now, if right now I don't have any students in my Schoology account, that's why these are kind of grayed out. I did make a sample classroom earlier, so I do have the option to select the sample classroom. I can assign it to all students or assign it manually to some. This is similar to the option that Google Classroom gives you, where you can either assign it to the entire class or to individual students. I'm going to leave assign to all for now. And on the right side, we have the start date. This is when the assignment is available to the students. And then we have a due date. Due date is not required for you to assign a video to the students, but I'll go ahead and add one for next Friday. Oh, we'll add it and then press save down here at the bottom. You also have the option to select the time when it is due. So let me go ahead and save that. Now we have these two options, very important options here: prevent skipping and turn on closed caption. So if you do not want your students to be able to click and drag the progress tracker there of the video to skip over certain sections, this should be enabled, and Edpuzzle enables this by default. If you do want them to be able to jump back and forth, you can unselect this and they'll be able to move back and forth. Now, they will always be able to move backwards. It's just they won't be able to skip forward if this is turned on. The second option is closed caption. If you do want to provide that for your students, you can click on that and it will add closed captions to the video. That's a good suggestion. Thank you for mentioning that. So if instead of having the students log on, if you feel that it might be too difficult to get them on, or they may be too young, what you could do is make a video and have the questions. And instead of having the students log on, you're playing the video for everybody through Zoom, and then asking them to write down the answer on a piece of paper or share it in some other way. Yeah, so that way they wouldn't have to log on and they'd still be able to watch the video and answer those questions. You know what, Kara, I'm gonna check for that. Let me post this and then I'll actually try that out and let you know. Is there a way for the teacher to know if a student watched the video? Yes. So once we have assigned this project or this video, I'm gonna go ahead and press assign. Okay, so the first thing you'll see is down at the bottom, I have a list of the students in the class. Right now, I only have one in my sample classroom, but it also tells me how much of it they've watched. So right now it's set to 0%, meaning the student has not watched the video at all. If I did have this option selected for grade, that would show up here as well. I'm sorry, this is after they've turned it in and you've graded the assignment. That would show up here as well. And then this will tell you when was the last time they watched the video and whether or not it's been turned in. Okay. So this would be a quick way for you to track and see where each student is in this assignment, in this video. Now you can also reset and you can download the grades if you want to then upload them to maybe a different grade book. You can do it that way as well. This is the other thing, the other way you can post this for students. You can press the share assignment button. Now, when you press the share assignment button, you are given an assignment link. This will, if you provide them with this link, this will take them directly to their assignment. This can be done through Google Classroom, or maybe if you're sharing links through other parent communications, or even if you're doing this on a Google site, you can post up this link to the assignment. The other option, if you do have a Google site, is you can embed the video into your Google site. Google site was something we covered towards the end of last school year, where you create your own classroom website. If you do have that, you can copy this code and embed it onto your Google site. I don't know if I have one available here. Let me just check very quickly. Yeah, so if we go here to my sample classroom, if you are familiar with Google Sites, if you do have a classroom website, you can embed this code. You select embed code, and then that video will show up for your students in your website. Okay. It will have them log in, but they can do it from here as opposed to going to the Edpuzzle site and looking for their assignments. So you can do it that way as well. If you are doing it through Schoology, that's the other part. Let me go ahead and close this out. If you are doing this through Schoology, let me just open up Schoology. Okay, so if you are doing this through Schoology, you would have to add the Edpuzzle app into your Schoology account. You can do that from the App Center. Okay, and then it will ask you to link it. So you do have to make an account in the Edpuzzle site first, and then you can link it to your Schoology Edpuzzle. Now, after you do that, you can go to Add Materials, and you'll see the Edpuzzle option show up right there. So when you click on Edpuzzle, give this a second to load. These are the videos that are found in the My Content area of your Edpuzzle dashboard. So I can click on a lesson, I can click on that watch, and then I can assign it this way. And here again, you have the option to set whether you want to prevent skipping or turn off closed captions. I'm going to go ahead and press assign. Yes, and then it will show up here for them. Okay, so that's how you would do it through Edpuzzle. Now, going back, we talked about assigning, we talked about searching. If you want to upload your own video, if we press the Add Content option under the My Content section, we have create a video, upload a video, student project, and folder. Folder is used to kind of sort your videos into different categories. I'm going to demonstrate the upload option. So if we have a video that we've recorded through maybe Screencastify or even Zoom, and it's in our Google Drive or on our computer, we can upload it into Edpuzzle. So here I'm going to choose a file from my computer, and I have a video that I've created a lesson on. I'm going to select that video and press the open button. And then this will be uploaded into the content area, my content area of Edpuzzle. And it will take a second, but it will prepare it. It will upload it into its server. And then when it is ready, I'll have the option to edit it just like I did with any other video. So I'll have the option to add questions, add notes, do voiceovers, cut it if I need to. All of that will be available here. If you do have one from your Google Drive, again, it's very simple. You just click Google Drive. You select your Google Drive, you give it permissions. I'm going to go ahead and select my account here. And then it will pop up to any videos you have in your Google Drive. I have one video uploaded on my drive. You click on that, select it, and again, it will process it. So you do have to wait until this is done. And you do have to keep in mind that there is a limit on how many videos you can upload or the size of the videos you can upload. So but however, in your paid Edpuzzle account, then that size would be increased. So you'd be able to have more videos up at any given time. Let me go into that right now. Let me click on my video that I just uploaded. I'm going to go ahead and press edit. And let's take a look at the question here. Let me do multiple choice question. So there is no option to answer that question. There is no option to do a voiceover for the questions. Yeah, unfortunately, that is not an option there. Okay, that was quite a lot of information. I know, yes, that is something that I feel they should work on, and but unfortunately, it's not available to us at the moment. That was a lot of information, I know, and this Google slide presentation is a little bit longer because there is so much to learn and do, especially on Edpuzzle. I've tried to detail this out for you as much as I could, and hopefully you can use this in case you forget a step or you need a refresher. You can come back to this and review any of the items that I covered here today. If you don't have this link, I'm going to post it one more time, as I do know some people came in a little bit late. So I'm going to post this link here on the chat. Okay, if you are opening up that link and you do want to make a copy of this presentation, feel free to go to File, make a copy, and then select Entire Presentation. The other option would be to go to File, Download, and download it as a PowerPoint or PDF. Just keep in mind that there may be some formatting issues if you choose to download it. Can you add to a video? No, not at the moment. The videos would have to be pre-made. You can cut it up, but there's no way to insert something, and there's no way to insert video clips into an existing video. Yes, you can make this a favorite if you choose to. So you can save that as a bookmark if you prefer, instead of making a copy of it. Okay. Now, if you do have any questions that I didn't get a chance to answer, please feel free to type them into the chat and I will do my best to address them. We were fortunate enough to be able, or I was fortunate enough to be able to show you how to do this through Schoology, as I know many of you will be utilizing it this start of the year. So thank you so much for joining. Yes, how to load a video on Schoology. Yes, so first of all, we would have to create the assignment on the Edpuzzle website. And so you would either choose from any of these channels or upload your own. But once you have that assignment in your My Content area, and again, that's important, this will only find videos that are in your My Content, okay? Then you can go over here to Schoology, and after adding the Edpuzzle app, which you can do from your App Center, then you can go to Add Materials, and you'll see Edpuzzle show up as one of the options. And you would be able to select your video and assign it that way. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad this has helped. Thank you. How to record yourself on Edpuzzle. Well, you don't record yourself with, oh, I'm sorry, when you said create a video, right? So if we go to create a video, well, create a video will bring us to their channels that we can use to modify any of the videos they have. To actually record yourself, you can use the recording feature on either Zoom. If you start a meeting and record it, just make sure you're sharing your screen, then that would generate a video that you can upload into Edpuzzle. Or you can use things such as Screencastify to record your screen and then upload that video into Edpuzzle. If you use Screencastify, I do believe it connects to your Google Drive, and so you would upload it from your drive. So if you go to upload a video, you would select Google Drive if it is saved through Screencastify. Thank you so much. You're very kind. Now, today is our last training for this week. We are working on getting some more prepared for you guys. I know that Schoology was the #1 requested training, and we do have access to it now. So we are working on something for Schoology. If you do have any other suggestions or comments, I forgot to add it to this presentation, but you can always email me. I'll post my email here in the chat. It is jsanchez@computerwisekids.com. And I'd be happy to listen to your suggestions, and we'll see if we can provide something for you. And this video is going to be uploaded into YouTube and available for you guys to view. You can search for us on YouTube through our channel, Computerwisekids. And under there, there'll be a playlist called Professional Development. And that's where you will see this video. Okay. If there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting. Thank you once again. I really appreciate you guys joining me. Have a great rest of your day.